What's going on, everyone? So President Trump has ordered the feds to start the process of defunding 4 lawless cities that are actually looking at defunding the police. Those cities include New York City, Portland, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. I guess if you're seeing shooting spikes and homicide spikes in your city and you're looking at defunding the police, the feds will defund you right back. Seems fair. Naturally, Governor Cuomo had something to say about this, saying Trump would need an army to safely walk New York City streets, and he's probably not wrong. Your state's a complete disaster, and it's not just him, of course. We're talking about Portland, Seattle, Washington. Portland with Ted Wheeler rejecting federal assistance to get the community under control. It's a complete mess. These 4 cities are a complete disaster right now, and it's not Donald Trump's fault for this. Now, let me just be clear. We don't live in a country with a king. We have a president, and we have state and local governments for a reason. Now, if Trump offers federal assistance to help get things under control, and you reject that, and you allow your community to go up in flames, that's your problem. Now, something that's very interesting, you guys, was Portland Police Association President Daryl Turner was on CNN the other day, and he was talking about this, how the DAs and the city council isn't doing anything to prevent what's going on in their community. Let's check this out.
First and foremost, we need the support of our elected officials, our city council, and our mayor, and not just to say stop the violence, but to condemn the violence. They have not unilaterally come together and condemn the violence. They need to support the police bureau. They need to support Chuck Lavelle, the new police chief. As soon as he stepped into the job, the city council immediately defunded the police bureau $15 million, took 85 sworn police officer positions away, got rid of our gun violence reduction team, which was one of the most successful in the nation. We can stop a lot of this violence before it starts. But when we don't have the ability because of sanctions and because of the direction that our elected officials want us to go in, we don't have that ability, including our district attorney, who has already said, who just came into office and already said there's certain violations and crimes that he will not prosecute. They will decline directly related to the protests.
Daryl Turner is completely spot on about this, and if they actually had the assistance of the mayor and the city council and the DA and all these people supporting the police department and allowing them to do their job, they could actually keep the community safe. But they don't. Speaking of Democrat DAs not doing their job, mid-June, we had 39-year-old Philip Lawrence Nelson. He was taken into custody by Portland police for interfering with a peace officer, a Class A misdemeanor. Now, why do I bring this up? Because 1 week later, he allegedly killed 2 people by stabbing them to death. And for the record, in Oregon, a Class A misdemeanor is punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a fine of $6,250, or both. Also, unfortunately, during the making of this video, another case was brought to my attention. On July 5th, during the protests, Mr. Raynal was charged with resisting arrest and possession of a loaded firearm, but the case was later dropped. Now, if that name rings a bell to anyone, Mr. Raynal was the radical left-wing member of Antifa that shot and killed Aaron J. Danielson this past weekend in Portland. And Antifa later that night took to the streets to celebrate that shooting.
Our community can hold its own without the police. We can take out the trash on our own. I am not sad that a f***ing fascist died tonight.
Mr. Raynal actually admitted to shooting and killing Aaron J. Danielson on a Vice interview on September 3rd, and later that evening was shot and killed by police while resisting arrest. Things like this is what happens when Democrat DAs don't prosecute, when mayors don't care because they can blame Donald Trump, and when police departments have their hands tied. Now, on a brighter note, Oregon State Police are now federally deputized, which basically means they can bypass a crappy Democrat DA that's not doing his job. All of this chaos going on in communities doesn't really seem to be affecting Democrats in the polls locally. But what we have seen is it has affected Joe Biden in the polls nationally. And when it comes to his new multi-million-dollar ad campaign, he's actually coming out strong against the rioters and the looters. And of course, ignoring Antifa and not condemning any of those individuals that are responsible for the overwhelming majority of this chaos. And of course, in this new ad campaign, he's blaming Donald Trump for all the chaos instead of saying that Democrat leaders are refusing to let police officers do their job. Anyways, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, shoot me a follow. Also, leave a comment in the comment section down below, as well as hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.